When trying to grab a customer's attention, it's important to ensure that it looks good on a shelf. And when it comes to video games, that is done by the video game's box art. And when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog, I feel like his box arts are very hit or miss. We start out with Sonic 1 with this Looney Tunes looking guy. Now yes, looking back, there might not be anything wrong with this, but when you actually look at the composition of this, it feels weird. For example, Green Hill Zone is kind of washed out looking, and the fact that there's so much black space makes it feel really empty. Sonic's pose is nice, but I feel like this box art could have been a little bit better. I think the box art for Sonic 2 was better, but I still feel like they could have done a bit more. Sonic and Tails look really tiny and odd looking here. There's something I can't really explain about it, they just don't look right here. And the way the number 2 is angled here looks odd. I don't know if 2s are supposed to look like that. And then Eggman with his non-eyeball having a head. How the fuck did they do that? The box art for Sonic 3, however, I actually really enjoyed this one. Instead of feeling like the characters are standing in nothing or they feel empty, Sonic 3's box art actually has the characters in a location from the game, which is Angel Island Zone, and it shows all of the characters doing their own thing, which I think looks really nice. It brings it all together very well. However, when talking about the 3 original Sonic games on the Genesis, all 3 of them are completely outclassed by their Japanese counterpart. These look perfect. They have the geometric shapes that make everything feel alive. The character art and posing is so much better, and even though we lose the environmental aesthetics in the Sonic 3 Japanese box art, I still like it more than the American one purely because of the art style. Now Sonic and Knuckles though is completely black, and the only thing that's on it is this small insignia that has the Sonic and Knuckles logo on it. Yes, this is very simple, but I think this works far more than the original Sonic 1 box art did. This looks so cool. Having this little logo in the middle of the box art just looks good on a box. Now, we have Sonic 3D Blast, which looks very, very ugly in America. I don't even need to tell you why it looks ugly. You can see it. But when we look at Japan and what they got, it's gorgeous. This art style looks perfect for this kind of Sonic. The posing is excellent, the filters that they added look super cool. I think this right here was the start of a new ambitious art style. What's cool is that we actually see this art style translated over to Sonic Jam, except this time they feel a lot more dynamic and their poses are excellent. The colors here look perfect, the geometric shapes in the background look nice. Both America and Japan got really good box arts this time. We head on over to Sonic R, but it seems like they went back to the Sonic 3D Blast approach of having a 3D model, but this time, at least it looks good. While the poses are pretty stiff, I found the expressions and background good enough, which I don't want to settle for good enough, but I'll take it. What's funny though is if you look at the Japanese version, it has this hilarious quote. At least the background and filter on the Japanese one are nice. Overall, Sonic R is alright. Sonic Adventure. Yes, this is iconic, but there's not that much going on here. Yes, I love this pose of Sonic, but everything around him is kind of nothing. Yes, it shows the water that appears a lot in this game, and you can kind of see the Mystic Ruins in the background of this. I'd say this one is good, but again, I want a little bit more out of this. But I feel like the artist took this the wrong way, because in the DX port, it looks horrible. These 3D renders of the characters look so bad. Sonic looks like plastic putty or I don't even know. I don't like this one bit. Sonic Shuffle. You know what? This one's actually really nice. The art style that they chose for these characters on this box art looks almost hand-drawn, but you can tell it's a 3D model. It has the really nice cel-shaded look, and the colors all shooting out from behind them do look nice as well. And they all have really nice poses. I really like this one. Sonic Adventure 2, I think it's better than the first one, but again, I want a little bit more. Yes, the Yuikawa art style looks great. Both Sonic and Shadow and their cool poses next to each other as the light and dark sides are shown, but that's kind of it. There's not much else going on here. A nice touch is that you can see the Earth and the sky, which, yes, that's cool, but I want a little bit more from this. Okay, that's a little bit too much, okay. Adventure 2 Battle, there's a lot of stuff on the screen, and it looks good, but it's just a little bit too busy. I feel like this could have been saved if the background was a little bit better, but it's kind of just... I don't even know what the background is, actually. I'm struggling to think of what exactly is being shown. It's just a bunch of shimmering lights. Again, I think both of them are fine. I just want 1, for them to be more, and 2, to not be so fucking cluttered. Sonic Heroes, it's okay. I'm kind of confused on this one. The poses all look pretty nice, and their expressions are decent. Maybe it's just the way that the characters are colored in this one, but this one never really stood out to me. I don't really have a lot to say on this one. It's just not my thing. Before we move on to Shadow the Hedgehog, I want to cover the Game Boy Advance Sonic games. Sonic Advance 1 through 3 have the same layout that they use in all their box arts. Sonic on the right side with all the side characters next to him. Something I like is that how each of them are color coordinated. Sonic Advance is blue, Sonic Advance 2 is green, and Sonic Advance 3 is yellow. Overall, I like these ones. The poses and art styles all look good, and I really like seeing the 2D art. Sonic Battle, though. The gorgeous art style that's used in Sonic Battle is shown in full force here, and it looks great. Sadly, though, this does have a similar problem to Adventure 2 Battle, where the background is just a bunch of shimmering lights with not much else going on. Still, though, I really like these ones. Shadow the Hedgehog just looks fucking cool. The massive explosion in the background and he's reaching out towards the camera. This feels very intense, and I feel like if I saw this on the shelf, I definitely would pick it up. Sonic Rush is pretty cool. It's cool how it's mostly blue and then it fades into a purple on the left, which makes sense because Sonic is closer to the camera. I don't have much to say about this one, it's pretty good. Sonic 06... could have been a little bit better, I'm not gonna lie. I like this pose with Sonic. He looks like he's putting in a lot of effort to put his step forward, but I think it's odd that they chose Kingdom Valley to show off on the cover. I feel like Crisis City could have looked a little bit better, but I get how at the time they wanted to show that this game was next gen, so they wanted to show off the most green and majestic looking place. I guess one thing is that this does fit the game and its art style. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but this box art, I think it did an alright job. Sonic Riders, talk about missed opportunity, man. In America, we got these 3D models which do look nice and there's the city behind them, but then you look at the Japanese version, it just looks gorgeous with this art style. I don't know why they couldn't give us this when the intro literally has these exact same animations in it. The characters really feel like they're all peeling away towards the screen as fast as they can. The American one isn't bad, but I very much prefer the Japanese version. I actually kind of like Sonic Rivals 1. It shows off pretty well that all the characters are going to be racing, and Sonic being so close to the camera does look neat. I think it's funny how Sonic is absolutely screwing over Silver. Sonic Rivals 2, on the other hand, I don't think is too great. To me, it just feels like they slapped a bunch of PNGs of the characters on a screen and called it a day. I don't really have anything to say about these, they look pretty boring. I kind of like Sonic and the Secret Rings. The background is very visually distinct, with some purple fire on the left and then actual fire coming out of Sonic's heart. And Sonic feels like he's lunging towards the camera, but his hand does look kind of weird. But the wind gusts all around him make him feel like he's in the middle of an action pose, which I think does look cool. In a way, Sonic Unleashed is very similar to Sonic Adventure 2. There's the very visually distinct split that shows the two sides of the game. Except this time, one side is Sonic, and the other is Sonic, the Werehog. I think this box is good in the sense that if you take one look at it, you'll know what's going on. And to me, I think that means they succeeded in this box art. Doesn't mean it's one of my favorites, but they did a good job. With Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, even though it doesn't have the 2D artwork, I think they cleaned up big time. All the characters feel super dynamic as they're shooting towards the camera. The blue filter on top of everything makes everything look super futuristic, which works for the game. And the pose with Sonic with his hands out like that looks super cool. I said this in my soundtrack art video, but Sonic and the Black Knight has an awesome aesthetic. This pose of Sonic makes him feel alive and that he's ready for battle. The massive castle behind him and King Arthur in the background tie it all together. But when we look at the Japanese version, this is gorgeous. Again, in my soundtrack art video, I went over how the game adopts this dark aesthetic as the game reaches the halfway point, and this box art shows that off beautifully. That red color suits Sonic so well, and instead of looking like he's waiting for an attack to hit him, he looks like he's going straight into battle. I think I like the Japanese one more, purely because it's just so eye-catching. Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 are lame. Stiff as hell poses, bland backgrounds with nothing in it. I have nothing to say, these are both bad. I think Sonic Colors is a perfect box art for the game that it is. What I mean by that is that when you look at this, it has the same effect as Sonic Unleashed, meaning that you'll understand what exactly is going on just by looking at it. You'll see that Sonic is somehow able to get powered by these aliens, he's in some kind of amusement park that's in outer space, and again, he's always ready with this sick pose. Now, Colors Ultimate. I think the original is a better box art, but in terms of style, the Colors Ultimate background is one of my favorite Sonic things ever. Look at my profile picture, you can tell. I don't know why, but this gradient and this color scheme always stood out to me, and I really love that about Colors Ultimate. For the next couple box arts, I'm going to be handing it over to PK to explain them. Please make sure to check out his channel, and without any further ado, let's hear it, PK.
First up is the Sonic Mania box art, and this box art absolutely bangs. The bright yellow background really draws in viewers' eyes, and contrasts the colors of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And the pattern in the background gives the game that retro feel that Sonic Mania goes for. The three characters all look happy and ready to go, and this is an incredible box art. Now, I'm very conflicted on the box art for Sonic Generations. Having modern Sonic and retro Sonic eyeing each other up as they look like they're about to run right out of the box art is really cool, but the white space in the background and the dimmed out colors of Green Hill Zone sucks some of the life away from the box art. The box art for Sonic Generations on the 3DS though is amazing. Modern Sonic and retro Sonic have their backs turned to each other, which looks awesome, and there is actually color in the background which gives the box art some life. The box art for Sonic Lost World is pretty bad. Sonic doesn't really stand out from the background at all, and the bright colored enemies in the background grab the viewer's attention, but you barely see them as they're so small. The background does get the point across that we won't be running around in the typical Green Hill Zone though, so it gets 1 point for that. The box art for Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Olympics is the most generic box art I've ever seen. And yeah, you can say this isn't a Sonic game, but it's my video. I can talk about what I want. Well, it's not my video, but fuck you. I want to talk about this box art. Mario and Sonic are standing in boring poses, and the renders of the two characters look like they're made out of different materials. The stadium in the background is boring, and man, this box art makes me want to cry. Anyways, that's it from me. Go check out my channel if you're interested in Nintendo content. I'm sorry for the shameless plug, and I'll be handing the video back over to the one and only Oreo God.
Thank you very much, PK. Make sure you all go and subscribe to him, and without any further ado, let's get back to the video. Sonic Forces sucks! More so than any of the other box arts, it feels like they just plastered a bunch of the characters all over the screen. It reminds me of Sonic Rivals 2, but in the worst ways possible. I will admit that the burning floating city in the background and the logo does look pretty nice, but overall, this is a pretty weak box art. However, Sonic Frontiers is gorgeous to me. This render of Sonic feels unique and interesting to look at. The background showing the diamond structure and other areas of Kronos Island. It's a simple yet effective box art. And the Japanese version goes back to the Sonic and the Black Knight style of having that exact same pose as the box art. But I think Black Knight did it better. For one, it feels kind of weird how this thing is cropped. Sonic feels really small and pretty far to the right, but at least that means you can see more of the open field, which makes sense for the game. If I had to pick my favorites, I guess I would say Black Knight Japanese, Frontiers American, and definitely Sonic Jam. I think all of these have really nice style and are really fun to look at. But anyway, that does it for today's video. Please make sure to go and subscribe to PK. He makes great videos and his voice is one of the best I've ever heard. Like, honestly, he sounds like an actual YouTuber, which blows my mind. The Sonic Frontiers review is turning out really big, so I'll need a lot more time to work on it. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.